What's a game-changing insight your therapist casually dropped during a session that completely shifted how you see things? Everyone gets one life. They don't get yours, too. You're allowed to take up space. It hit me hard. I never realized how much I was shrinking myself to fit into others' expectations. I had a massive procrastination issue when it came to my uni assignments. To the point where I wouldn't even hand some in, but somehow always did well in group assessments. This was how that conversation went. So you struggle in lone assignments? Yes, but not in group assignments? Yes. I don't want to let my teammates down. But it's okay if you let yourself down. She said that last thing like a fact, not a question, and it really opened my eyes to how low my self-esteem was. That I saw nothing wrong with failing myself. So when do you get a turn to be happy? Me explaining how I need to do X, Y, Z for my family so they are happy with me, made me realize my childhood was spent with me learning how to entertain and manage my parents' emotions because they were emotionally unavailable to me. It's not much, but it made my mind go blank. Something that I learned in training to become a therapist. Boundaries are for you, not for other people. So that means you don't say, you can't do that. You have to say, if you do that, I will 4x. Leave, hang up, block, tell someone else, whatever. This stops the nearly impossible attempts at controlling others' behavior and gives you all the power. Don't think of the relationship as over. Think of it as complete. That simple shift in perspective completely changed the way I was dealing with a tough breakup. It helped me focus on the growth and experiences I gained instead of just the ending. So powerful. My therapist said to me, "What would happen if you started treating yourself the way you would treat someone you love?" That simple question made me realize how hard I was on myself and how that affected everything in my life. Since then, I've tried to be more compassionate with myself, and it's completely changed the way I handle mistakes, stress, and my relationships. Stop trying to get everyone to agree. When you need everyone to agree, the least agreeable person has all the power. Really changed my outlook on planning family events. You are going to be killed by a real-life animal. You can choose what animal it is. What do you pick? Landed on by a falling whale, followed by a bowl of petunias. I want a giraffe to just head neck whip my ass once and I'm a goner. Boom, instant kill. Probably one of the more venomous snakes. Inland taipan, sea kite, something like that. Most others seem like they'd take too long. Even the huge animals feel like the agony before death would be too much. Bears. Lots of ripping and tearing. Don't always go for vitals first. Elephant. Could squeeze me, or could gore me. Step on my lower half and then leave me to agonize. Shark. Pain and drowning sounds awful. Lesser venomous creatures take too long. Maybe a head kick from a horse? It's all bad. Real answer. Jaguar. They go for the skull to puncture the brain so it's instant death. They don't eat live prey. Death by butterfly. Snow leopard. I always wanted to see one. Harambe. Through my sacrifice may you all escape the darkest timeline. A capybara or wombat. Let's see how it can change a good reputation. What's something that is actually more common than people think it is? Alcoholism. There are many more functional alcoholics or recovering than people would guess. I think feeling lost or unsure about life is way more common than people let on. Everyone acts like they've got it all figured out, but deep down, most people are just winging it. Companies, even multinational corporations, being held together with scotch tape and/or legacy technology. How many people struggle with imposter syndrome? I always thought it was just me. But it turns out, even super successful people deal with it. With professional incompetence, illiteracy, rare earth minerals. They are actually relatively common. The process of separating them from the ore is the problem. Incompetent therapists. I am in the field and shocked at how poor some of the therapists are in this field of mental health. What almost killed you? I went to bed and woke up 9 days later. I have epilepsy and had a seizure early in the morning. I was brought to the hospital because the seizures wouldn't stop. They gave me 5 different anticonvulsive medication. None of it worked. So they paralyzed me, neck down, to stop me from physically seizing. But my brain was still burning. So they essentially put me in a medical-induced coma. I had to be intubated and put on life support. Had to be put on dialysis because something to do with my blood was going to cause me to have a heart attack. This all happened in one day. For the next 9 days, they essentially waited for me to get better and slowly wake up. From my perspective, I went to sleep and had some crazy long dreams, which almost felt like I lived another life for 6 months. In my dream, near the end of it, I noticed things were weird, like sitting on a Ferris wheel in the middle of a black void. So I eventually dreamed out and had a panic attack in my dream. And then I suddenly sat up panicked on the hospital. 9 days later, I don't remember much after the day I woke up, but I remember the feeling of the intubation tube being pulled out. Carbon monoxide. It travels through the air in pockets. I was working on a blast furnace and stepped into a pocket and instantly passed out. I woke up on the catwalk and made my way down off the furnace, stopping once to puke. It displaces the oxygen in your body and gets in your joints. I felt like I had been hit by a truck for a week. I almost walked in front of a speeding bus on the busy streets of Chicago. Fresh out of high school, sleep deprived, iPod in, walking to work, just kept walking until someone behind me grabbed my backpack handle and pulled me back, followed by the whoosh of a speeding bus seconds later. I looked back and there were a bunch of people behind me, but no one in the crowd said anything or even looked at me. Never found out who saved me, but thanks Chicago stranger from 20 years ago. Had a ticket for the Pan Am flight that blew up over Lockerbie, Scotland, and missed my flight. Once when I was 6, I was walking through the woods when this really big kitty comes out of the brush, walks right up to me, brushes its head against my face like a house cat against someone's leg, and then just walks right off. Didn't really think much of it at the time. Hindsight. Mountain lion. Eating berries aged 2. My mom noticed red juice around my mouth and was aware the berries are extremely poisonous, so rushed me to hospital. The doctors told her they would attempt to pump my stomach, but in all likelihood they would only be able to make my death more comfortable, as it was almost inevitable. My mom phoned my dad telling him to get to the hospital ASAP. Meanwhile, I had my stomach pumped. Turns out I hadn't bitten a single berry. I'd swallowed them all whole. Apparently if I had chewed them it would have definitely been fatal. Needless to say, my dad never made it to the hospital and instead stayed at home and took a chainsaw to the ancient yew trees we had growing in our garden. A year ago, I had a cough I couldn't shake for a few months. I went to urgent care and they found a large mass in my chest compressing my airway. I had a rare type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. 8 months post-chemo and I'm doing great. I died for 7 minutes during open heart surgery as a baby. And choking on an ice cube almost killed me, lol. Luckily it melted.